everyone, welcome to OpenLine, one of my favorite shows tonight. There's obviously a lot of tough stuff going on in the world. It's nice to sometimes take a step back and talk about movies. And what better time to do that than right before the Academy Awards. Of course, the Academy Awards Sunday night. We're going to go through the Academy Award nominated movies, go through some of the categories and all of that, but also just talk about movies in general. What's your favorite movie? What are you hoping is going to win on Sunday? Whatever you want to talk about, happy to have with us the film critic for the Nashville Scene, Jason Shawhan. Thank you for being here.
Absolutely.
Always great to have you here.
Thank you.
All right, before we get into the Academy Awards and all that, big picture, this year, how do you think this year was film-wise?
The 2017, wow. The sure things weren't so sure. There were a lot of instances of sequels and big budget adventure things that just didn't find their place in the market, and then all these like weird and interesting smaller films that crossed over and did amazing things. So I think basically if you could sum up 2017 in an image, it's a bunch of people sitting around a table in a boardroom going, "Huh?" That's my.
What are some of the sure things that missed?
I mean,
what's one sure thing?
Well, Transformers 5. I mean, that's a film that's made that series has made billions and billions of dollars all over the world, and this one, people were just like, we're tired of this, and that's great. Like there's sometimes when the audience there are films that are not audience proof,
right?
And if enough people are just like, we're done with this, it's great. Hollywood learns and they move on.
And so that means we won't have a Transformers 6?
I think they're already like rebooting and focusing on something else now. They're not giving up on the Transformers cinematic universe, which is a phrase that if you had said to me when I was but a wee child, I would have been like, that's the most awesome thing ever. And now I'm just like, oh, I'm tired.
And then what was something that was a surprise?
I mean, look, Get Out, Lady Bird, I'm trying to think of a few of the others. The Shape of Water as well. I mean, like, these are all films that normally would be like, small prestige releases, usually make somewhere around like $20 million, and all of them have like completely demolished expectations of what they're doing. And then even on the big level of things, you have the Thor Ragnarok and Black Panther, which take the superhero template that we've been getting a lot of, and then have both of them turned into anti-colonial films, which is awesome. I mean, like, finally, oh great, they're throwing hundreds of millions of dollars and they're actually making the movie about something, which is, it's awesome.
Okay, so that's interesting. Yeah, you're right. Some of the movies that are nominated, and we'll get into these, but Shape of Water and Lady Bird, those weren't expected to be big, and then here they are nominated.
They were expected to be like moderate level prestige pictures, which is anywhere from like $20 to $40 million.
So as we talk about the state of the industry, all right, there have been some big changes this year. A lot of these theaters are going to the recliner, this experience of, I don't know, you gotta lie all the way back in your seat, and then there's Movie Pass.
Yes,
that's a huge thing. So those types of changes, how is that impacting the industry?
Well, they're sort of they're both changing things up, but for completely different purposes. The luxury seating thing, it's a way to sort of make the film going experience more of a prestige event, or something that's like make it a bigger deal. It's costing you more money, so it's a bigger deal. And it's, for the most part, it's an interesting idea. I mean, the recliner thing can be comfortable. It can also be annoying, especially like when you get the ones that sound really farty when you're adjusting them. And it's true that they do that, and I'm sure that there is someone whose job on a daily basis is figuring out how to make that sound less so. But it's it's part of it. But the exhibitors want to make it into a premium experience so that people who maybe have like stopped going to the movies decide to come back to try something, to make it more special. Movie Pass is taking the exact opposite tack. It's making it much more democratic. It's making it much more easy for people to see movies, and I think it's great in theory. There's the attendance is up everywhere, and Movie Pass has a great deal to do with that.
Attendance is up.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. The problem with Movie Pass is that their customer service is a big old garbage fire. Like, they don't have a number you can reach them at if something's going wrong. You just have to tweet at them. So what they've done, and I'm sure someone in a boardroom somewhere is just like, that's brilliant, I wish I had thought of that, is they've made movie theater workers all over the country become their customer service thing. They're not paying them for it, but it's just to do your job. You have to like learn the ins and outs of this thing that everybody's using, but nobody knows exactly how it works. So I mean, it's you know, I like them as a company. It's good that people are going to see things, but they also really kind of dropped the ball. Just because, I mean, all it could have taken was some outreach at the beginning, just saying like, hey, you know, if people ask questions, you can do this. But but instead of that, you've got like seniors in crisis who are just like, my son gave me the movie pass and I'm not sure. And I'm just like, we can work through that with you.
Seniors in crisis.
It's true.
All right, I thought that this recliner thing was at just a couple of theaters, and it was going to be maybe some high-end theaters. But now, you know, I travel out of town. They're there. They're pretty much everywhere. This is the new experience. And to get those recliners in there, they're having to take out seats.
Yes.
So does the math work? It must.
Here's the thing. I don't know the specifics of it. Like, I really don't. I think obviously from that we can infer that on a corporate spreadsheet it looks better to have a sold out theater with smaller capacity than it does to have, like, you know, maybe 3/4 full with a lot more seats, which I don't understand. And having worked in a movie theater around the holiday system, I have cursed every one of those seats that's not there anymore. I mean, it's
they're
just
selling out a lot.
Oh yeah, they're selling out a lot. But the problem is that you'll have people who come in who think that going to the movies is just like it always was, and it's not. And you know, they'll be like, everything is sold out, and they just get furious, which is completely understandable. But at the same time, it's like it's trying to shift audiences' movie-going tendencies to, instead of like, oh well, let's just go to the movies tonight, to something you plan ahead, you get the tickets online, like you don't interact with like human beings on the front end there anymore. And I mean, that's what they want to do, and I guess that's good for them. I don't know.
And MoviePass is here to stay, or not? I mean, what do you think?
However long their venture capital holds out is how long they're here to stay for. I mean, again, I sound like I'm hating on them. I don't. I really, like, when you see people who, like, seeing something subtitled you know is going to do them good, and they're coming in, they're getting the ticket, that makes me happy. There's, you know, it's, I like so much of the idea of MoviePass that I want to know what their actual story is behind it, because I mean, it's such a money-losing setup that they have right now. Obviously they're gathering data, obviously they're trying to, like, you know, get something set up to get, like, you know, kickbacks or something with the theaters that they're exhibiting with. But I just don't know how it is. It's like it's the way that, like, so much of, like, Silicon Valley ideas and venture capitalism at this point, it's just like throwing money at things, and I'm like, that doesn't even make any sense. But somehow or another, they've got something that's going to work for them. So.
And I guess we should explain what MoviePass is. We're talking about it like everyone knows, when there might be people who do, and there's some who may not. How would you explain what it is?
MoviePass. I mean, I've got mine right here. It's a MasterCard affiliated card that you pay a monthly fee. It's $9.95 currently. That lets you see a movie a day. You can't do 3D, you can't do IMAX, but and I think there's some issues with some of the Hindi and Telugu language films that pop up because they have different, like, right structures. But basically, you can go to a movie a day, and well, $9.95 a month, that's less than one movie. Yes, it is. And
so the money, how do they do that?
I mean, obviously, the idea is. Someone gets one and doesn't use it. I mean, that happens with every sort of card that you can imagine. But I've seen so many people who've got it and are using it, and it's and going to see stuff, and it's wonderful. It's such a good feeling knowing that people are going to see stuff.
So I've gotten it. I was skeptical at first, but I've gotten it, and I'll see maybe 4 movies a month. So obviously I'm saving money.
Yeah.
But when after I use it, they send me a survey about the movie, and one of the questions they ask is, would you have gone to see this movie if it weren't for MoviePass? And I probably would have, but I guess they're getting a lot of information as well.
Yeah, I mean they're designing the virtual duplicate of you that they can like show advertising to. I'm convinced that's the case. I'm convinced that people are trying to develop artificial intelligence and like human-like androids, like Blade Runner stuff, so that they can have someone to like test ads on. I'm convinced of that, and you know what? As long as it leads to like reconciliation amongst humanity, I'm fine with that.
Well, let's hope it does. All right, that's very optimistic. All right, so all right, before we go to break, we're going to talk about the Academy Awards. You look at these Best Picture nominees. We'll kind of just start that out with what do you think's going to win? So you have Call Me by Your Name, Get Out, Dunkirk, Lady Bird, Phantom Thread, The Post, Darkest Hour, Shape of Water, 3 Billboards. I
mean, there's not a terrible film amongst those 9, and 7 of them are good or better, and you know 4 of them are 4-star films. So I mean, basically, I think probably Shape of Water is going to win, just because that's been like speaking to people across the board in the most diverse fashion. I'm terrified 3 Billboards is going to win because what's good about that film is very good, and what's terrible about it is so bad it makes me want to throw things. I would be ecstatic if Phantom Thread, Get Out, Lady Bird, or Call Me by Your Name won. Any of those 4 I would be ecstatic about. I loved all 4 of those films. If I ever meet any of those directors in person, I will buy each of them a drink. Just those 4 though.
All right, well, that kind of sets the table. So we're going to come back and we're going to kind of talk about each one of those movies, kind of get the buzz, kind of where its story, whatever. We'll talk about those movies and also some of the other categories. If you want to call, there's the number, 615-737-PLUS, 615-737-7587. Take a break. Be back right after this.